Greetings, one and all, once again, back to Exploring Arda. Except, of course, usually as I read through books, this time I'm going to be doing another game review. This time I'm going to be covering Adventure to Mount Doom. So this is I think it's a personal favorite for me, of Lord of the Rings inspired board games. Of course, also with this, I've done some homebrew edits, I guess. Basically just to, I don't know, just kind of tweak it a little bit to my likings. It's a very, very fun game. And yeah, and actually I'll be reading from the back here, and I'll probably just cycle through some photos for you guys to see the little figures that come with and what the map looks like. It's very, very detailed, and it's one of my favorite aspects about the game itself, of like the design and whatnot. The artistic design is absolutely incredible. So, the Adventure to Mount Doom. Frodo's quest to destroy the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom is fraught with peril. Luckily, his loyal companions are ready to protect him on his journey. With smart dice selections, players work together to move the Fellowship figures across the game board, a beautifully illustrated map of Middle-earth. Will Frodo reach Mount Doom before he loses his confidence? In this cooperative fantasy board game, all players will win or lose together. So yeah, like I said before, the absolute detail, incredible detail that went into the map is really, really amazing. And I might have some scans throughout the board and whatnot, but otherwise, basically the Adventure to Mount Doom is you're trying to move Frodo and Sam to Mount Doom and for them to destroy the One Ring. So it's pretty much basically like the movies, and the books obviously too. But it's more of a learning game where it's like the first stage is very first step stuff, and you kind of learn along the way. It's a very, very fun game. It's a good learning game, and it's not too hard and it's not too easy, so it's like that nice in between. So I think with all my rambling out of the way, I can just show you guys the first steps, the starting, the setup, whatnot, and it'll be very, very fun. So let's get to it. And before we start the game here, so I have the board in front of me here. Like I said, very, very beautifully illustrated map of Middle-earth. Each section here, so you'll see that there is Lothlorien and Rohan and Helm's Deep, Gondor, Minas Morgul, and Mount Doom with some Gandalf cards. So pretty much good setup is to shuffle all these together. You also have this red book of Westmarch here. You can see on the back side, very, very cool. Like I said, the detail is absolutely incredible on these. So that goes here. You get some of the dice here, all the different colors for the different minis here that I'll show you in a minute. You see all these symbols and designs and whatnot. You get the Sauron symbol here, so that's always bad news when you come across it. But yeah, so those are the dice that you'll be using, and I have a bunch of figures here that are kind of lying around, and I'll show you guys pretty much of all that. But before I do, I wanted to just showcase what the detail is on all of these. And it's so, so incredible. So that's obviously Lothlorien, and this is Rivendell over here. Rohan up here. And you get Lothlorien. Oh, did I do Lothlorien already? Yep. Minas Morgul, which is very, very cool. You see all the Nazgul figures. Of course, you get Mount Doom, which is absolutely incredible. The smoke rising out of Barad-dûr there. Or out of Barad-dûr, out of Orodruin there. And you get Minas Tirith with the eagles. And you get Isengard with all the orcs and the Uruk-hai. And of course Helm's Deep. And I didn't really go in order here, but it is an incredible map. Okay, and another important aspect of the game, pretty much all these colored dice obviously match up with the Fellowship here, so you see, there's actually a really cool backside So like the design is actually really, really cool. But each dice represents each of the fellowship figures that are part of the game itself. Very important, obviously. There are also these 2 black dice and the symbol dice that I showed you guys earlier. Each one represents, obviously, a different one of the fellowship. Oh, there's Gandalf there. So, you know, like the red axe matches with Gimli, and you'll see that the purple daggers here match with Merry and Pippin. Very cool stuff. And this is like the main fellowship, and you get to choose. I would say you get to choose who you want to be, but always you need Frodo and Sam here, as it is their mission to get to Mount Doom. So the necessity of having Frodo and Sam is always there. All right, so here I have in front of me the overall map here. Let me see if I can move this. Yeah, so this is what we'll be playing with. You can see all throughout the boards here, you actually do see these Nazgul figures here, and they're all marked specifically on the map itself. So like this one, you can see that there's the Nazgul figure. So each spot represents where a Nazgul is at. Now, I do have, let me see here, I do have 2 extra Nazgul, and for me, I put them off to the side for now, just because they're not technically in Minas Morgul yet, because one of the rules of the game is that if you collect all 9 of the Nazgul, that is part of the end of the game, so you don't want that, obviously. I also started here. You start over here in Rivendell, so you get to, obviously, you start with Frodo and Sam here, and I chose Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli to join the company. You are able to play with 4 players, unless if somebody wants to play as Frodo and Sam, which is always an option. You may also do that. But otherwise, this is kind of the whole setup here, and immediately you actually do get this Rivendell card. Oops, it's kind of glaring here. It's a Rivendell card, and this is actually Boromir, so I don't know why I can't get this here. I'll probably show it here on the camera. But yeah, so you immediately get this Boromir card because you start in Rivendell. And before I show you guys the card, these are the Lothlorien cards here, and you pretty much set one up here face down on the one side, and then you just kind of start flipping on these 2 through 5. So you flip through these. Oh, I got some pretty good cards actually. But 1 and 6 are actually the ones that are hidden for the present time. Okay, so this is the Rivendell card, so if you guys can see it a little better, so without the shadows here. So there's the Rivendell card, and this is Boromir. So you can use these, and these are the ally cards. So you'll see that the markings here, I mean, not very good, have like the green leaf of Lorien pretty much. And Boromir here says that after losing a battle against Uruk-hai, which we'll get to later, you can re-roll the battle dice, but you lose if you roll the Sauron symbol. So basically it's like a re-roll of the dice. So it's actually really important, especially if you lose the first battle, and you just don't want to lose any more quote-unquote hearts, which I'll get to right now. Alright, so yeah, the hearts, like I mentioned, are all spread out here, here. So they're all spread out, and there's one here, there's one here, here, here. So if you lose on these hearts here, it basically means that taking the ring here, literally the ring, you are starting here on this, pretty much this, the chart here that kind of goes all the way down here. You get a Galadriel symbol here, and you have the Eye of Sauron here. Now, if you lose a heart, basically this the ring tracker kind of goes forward or down 1, and the whole premise is that you just do not want to get down to the bottom, or else Frodo loses courage and the game is over. So that's another reason why you can also have game over, either from the Nazguls, like I showed you guys earlier, or if the chart goes all the way down to the bottom. So. Yeah, starting off, the rolls also are very important. So taking 2 black dice here, you always roll these. And the way that I do the rolls is that you always have to roll who you are playing as. So like, say essentially I'm going to be playing as Aragorn. I would choose a blue dice to roll with this, and I get to choose any of my other companions as the other dice. So let's say I'll choose Legolas. So I'll do Aragorn and Legolas here. So I'll roll it quickly. So there you go. For me also, the way that I do things is that since you are the first character on this the Red Book of Westmarch, there is page 1, which I'll put here. So this is page 1, and since Legolas rolled the other one, it's page 2. Now with the black dice here, so I rolled a 1 and a 3 here, I get to choose between 1 and 3 because it is my turn. So I'll choose 3 first, and then I'll reveal what's on card 1. So 3 here is Saruman card, and this one says to place 2 Uruk-hai in Isengard. If there are fewer than 2 Uruk-hai in the supply, place as many as possible in Isengard. So yeah, this is still a Lothlorien card, but it's basically Saruman trying to plan ahead, which is awful in the long run. So all right, so this is basically, if you guys wanted to see, this is the Saruman card, which I cannot get the lighting correctly. There you go. Saruman card, so very cool artwork as always. Yes, the Lothlorien card, but yeah, just in case you guys wanted to see it. Yeah, so since I drew that Saruman card, actually, I get to pretty much get these Uruk-hai all the way in the corner here. This is where the Isengard Uruk-hai are being made, pretty much. It does say that if there are fewer than 2 Uruk-hai in the supply, place as many as possible in Isengard. For me, I usually, again with like the homebrew stuff, I usually just do 2 at a time, since that would be a lot of Uruk-hai, and sometimes Isengard does fill up all the way. And I'll tell you guys the specialty that I have that I use for Isengard later in the game. So that is card number 3, and now I get to do one little jump of movement here. So each spot is obviously 1 movement. So now we go over to card 1, which also I forgot to mention that the black dice always go first. So all of these cards must be used first. So if we flip over card number 1, it is the Moria Orc. So Moria Orc, there you go. Basically, this is it says small, nimble, and hard to handle. And if you guys can see it, probably not. Basically, there is a battle symbol. There you go. There's the battle symbol on the left-hand part of the card here, which means that we get to do battle. So that's always fun. So for battle, for me, you use this the multi-symbol dice here, and if we roll it, yeah, look at that. There you go, Sauron symbol. How fitting. So this is the Sauron symbol, if you guys can see it or not. So if you roll the Sauron symbol, you immediately lose the fight. And since it is a -1 heart here, if you guys can see, it means that the ring goes down 1. So that was a terrible card and a terrible roll. But we'll advance Legolas up ahead, up to this Nazgul right here, and he gets to fight again. Now, with battle sequences, it's tricky because since Legolas is ahead, he can only win if he rolls his own dice or if he rolls a Gandalf symbol, which means that you can either use a Gandalf card to automatically win the battle, or or it's a reroll, I believe, the way that I do things. But that's just how I play. That's how I play this game. So let's have Legolas roll. There we go. Boom, Gandalf. So I rolled the Gandalf dice here, which means I get to pretty much see the next Gandalf card here. If you guys can see. This Gandalf one is Gandalf's Tricks. After a roll, turn one multicolored fellowship dice of your choice to any face. Basically, these two you get to re-roll, say like on your turn. So I wouldn't use it right now, but I would use it in the next turn. However, if I wanted to use the Gandalf card in this battle, I can always use this card and then automatically win the fight. So I'll say, like, for instances, I'll use this, which means that I'll just kind of put it off to the side here as it's a discard, and the Nazgul is taken off the board as a victory. So he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ahead of everybody else. So there you go. And so that'll be his turn. And so basically, since let's say it's Gimli's turn next, and he'll be using this red dice, 2 of the black dice as usual, and I'll say that he wants to move Frodo and Sam forward, so he uses the red and the orange dice. So there you go, 4 and a 5, and since Gimli, for me, goes first, and then Frodo and Sam go second, and he gets to choose between 4 and 5, so let's just say he goes 4 and 5. So the card is ally cards, and this one is Arwen's card. Arwen's is ignore the event associated with one game board space. So if you use this Arwen card, you get to, say, if you land on one of these hearts, which are courage hearts that decrease by 1, you can use this card to essentially just like disregard it and move on with the current situation. I also have it in my my rules, I guess, is that if you do approach a Nazgul with Arwen, that the battle's an automatic win because Arwen does defeat the Nazgul in the movies. And so that's my kind of rule. So when you draw ally cards, you actually get to keep them off to the side here. So let's say, like, keep it here, so that you can use this between anybody throughout the whole game. So if anybody wants to use the Arwen card, it's kind of like a, I mean, not just Arwen, but any ally cards, you can use it whenever you want. You can just decide amongst each other as a group. So, but yeah, and usually the turns kind of keep going on and on like that until basically you reach the next location. So like they're all trying to get to Lothlorien, which is why these are all Lothlorien cards. It's basically like a whole deal with trying to get to the next location. So it's kind of a lot of re-rolls, a lot of common, a lot of repetition, I would say, a lot of repetition. And the first stage from Rivendell to Lothlorien is basically kind of getting to know the rules and what the cards are all about. And I'll actually run through the rest of the cards here, as I'll do this kind of like a theoretical thing where since they cleared out the Nazgul, they all kind of make it to Lothlorien here. So this is the next location where there would be at. And usually, so what I do is, like, if Frodo and Sam reach the next location, so like Lothlorien, say if they're behind, Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli can't move forward because they're essentially waiting for Frodo and Sam to reach Lothlorien. And so that's the way that I play it. Is I feel like it's just like kind of better because the whole journey is for Frodo and Sam to get there, so they're pretty much just waiting in Lothlorien, which would be kind of funny. But yeah, I'll show you guys what the rest of the cards are all about. Okay, so this is the rest of the cards here that I have in front. Ooh, here we go. So this is the Moria Orc here, the one that I drew earlier. So that is that one, which is the small, nimble, and hard to handle, which is you need to basically fight them just one time. The other ally card I had was Elrond here, and this one's that immediately after a roll, re-roll one dice of your choice. Only the new value counts. So basically, a re-roll of any of the dice that you want, which is also very important. So you can re-roll a black dice, you could re-roll a colored dice, any ones that you rolled bad on. So that's that one. The Saruman one that I covered earlier, just right before this. This one's the Cave Troll. They have a Cave Troll. And this one is, there is something large waiting in the tunnels. And so if you battle, you see this little battle dice here, or battle symbol. And if you lose the battle, you lose 2 hearts, basically, immediately. So, and that's always bad. So you can tell that throughout the whole game is all about losing or gaining hearts. Pretty much kind of courage for Frodo and Sam. And especially for Frodo, since his courage kind of like waxes and wanes depending on what happens during the whole journey. The other one I have is the Nazgul card. So Nazguls are always troublesome throughout the story. For this one is you place 1 Nazgul in Minas Morgul. And if after placement all of the Nazgul are in Minas Morgul, like I said earlier, you immediately lose. So pretty much it's the whole 9 Nazgul coming together, and they're, I guess, like, essentially it's just like the end of the story. They're all together all at once. This huge, like, terrible force of darkness pretty much goes over and wipes everybody out, I guess. And last but not least, part of the Lothlorien stack here is, of course, the Balrog of Moria. The Balrog. This one is to place the Gandalf token in Helm's Deep, and you cannot use the Gandalf cards until the Ring Bearer has reached Helm's Deep. So pretty much it's Gandalf's help with the Fellowship, but now that he's battled the Balrog, you can't really do much until, I think, once they have reached Helm's Deep, which I suppose makes sense. And that's the Lothlorien cards. And yeah, I think that's a good explanation of them. Alright, so kind of jumping ahead here, so I got another Nazgul fight with Aragorn and Legolas. So going back to the battle dice again. So you roll the battle dice all the time, but for battle explanation, I think, is that since Aragorn and Legolas are together right here, Aragorn, if he rolls, he can either roll a Gandalf symbol and can re-roll, or he can use his own symbol, or he can roll Legolas' symbol. But if he rolls either a Gimli or Frodo and Sam, so a red or an orange here, that means they lose the fight, as they are not essentially there with them to ally them in the fight. Narratively, that's the way that I place things, just for you guys to kind of know how I do the battle sequences in the first couple rounds, just to kind of get used to it. So if I roll here, so I got the blue sword, which matches with Aragorn's symbol here, and so that means the Nazgul is taken out. And then whatever remainder, basically remainder, I didn't really roll for him for this, so, but whatever he would get, so let's say, well, 1, okay, 1 or 6, there you go. So if he reaches Rohan here, so now that Aragorn has reached Rohan, he stays here in Rohan. So that means if, Gimli or Frodo somehow end up with, like a battle along the way, that means that so for Frodo and Sam, they have only Gimli and Legolas for help and not Aragorn, because he's already in Rohan kind of waiting for them, so to speak. So I'll be jumping over to the cards of Rohan here for you guys to see. Very, very fun stuff. So, okay, so I got here the Rohan cards. So if you want to see the back side here, it's pretty cool. Trying to get out the shadows here. So Rohan, very, very cool stuff. The first one I have here is Galadriel. So the Galadriel card is I feel like it's very important throughout the game. For the Galadriel is before rolling in a battle, you can move the One Ring to the Galadriel's space on the Courage track. So it's kind of further down, but I'll get to Galadriel at a later time whenever I get to it. So that's an ally card. You get another Saruman card, which I actually rolled earlier, so you can go back and kind of check that. That's the Saruman card. I got the Orc Hordes, so that's always not good. It says an overwhelming force. And basically, if you roll the battle dice here, you lose 2 hearts if you lose. So if you roll a Sauron symbol, or if you roll a companion that is behind you, that means you lose the battle because they're not assisting you in the battle, and you lose the 2 hearts. You also get here King Theoden. Here you go. King Theoden, very, very great, which is funny because King Theoden in the big battle of Pelennor Fields is behind me, which is crazy. This one is you can advance one fellowship figure other than the ring bearer to their current stage's destination. So basically, if you want to use your own person or somebody else part of the fellowship up to the next location, you may do that if you choose. This one is the Uruk-hai. For the Uruk-hai, it says, for each Uruk-hai in Isengard, you have to basically battle one time, and if you lose, you lose a heart. Obviously, losing courage and part of the track. But if you win at least one of the battles, you can remove one Uruk-hai. So, basically, if you win one, you can basically remove, it just says remove one, so I'm assuming you just remove one of the Uruk-hai. So this is kind of the, so each battle you win, sorry to kind of stumble, but basically each time you win a battle, you can take an Uruk-hai from Isengard off the board. You also get wargs. Wargs is really, really cool. I actually surprisingly don't really draw this one a lot. So, wargs is a nasty surprise with teeth and claws, and it's automatically 2 hearts. So when you have automatic 2 hearts, that means you lose 2 hearts. However, on the symbol on the corner here, this little flip side, that means you only use it 1 time. So that's always good too. So it's a good pro and con. And then of course you get another Nazgul card, where you're placing the Nazgul back into Minas Morgul. And that is all of the Rohan cards. So, fun stuff ahead. Okay, so now that we're pretty much, say, like advanced up to the next Helm's Deep stage, it's kind of like a repetition, like I said, as I showed you guys with like the movements, making sure that you roll with 2 of the black dice here. Fighting along the way. So I showed you guys how to do the attacks and how to battle and whatnot. There is one thing that I did forget to mention here is that I actually have these Gandalf cards in front of me. Whoa, except for that one. Basically, each time that you go to each location, so they reached Lothlorien here, and they also reached Rohan. That means they get to include 2 Gandalf cards. If you didn't draw the Balrog card, of course. So that means each location you get to draw a Gandalf card, and you can leave it off to the side. So like I have over here some of the cards here. So like if you wanted to use it as your group, you can leave it off to the side and use it whenever you want throughout the game until you get to, I believe, Minas Morgul, where it kind of stops and Gandalf cards cannot be used in Minas Morgul or in Mount Doom. So just kind of wanted to mention that there are other Gandalf cards here, and like I said earlier, you can also use Gandalf cards to pretty much automatically win the battle because he's kind of the the figure of saving grace and stuff like that. He's the one who steps into the battle and saves everybody. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to mention. And I'm actually going to skip ahead to Isengard after I go through the cards of Helm's Deep. So. Okay, so we got the Helm's Deep cards. Very, very cool. Each one is kind of color-coded, which is also really nice. These 2, of course, are the ones that we've already met along the way, the Saruman card and the Nazgul card. So those are, we already kind of went through those. This one is Wormtongue, so he's actually kind of scary in this card. So it's, yeah. Wormtongue is you have to choose one of the friend cards and remove it from the game without using it. So basically you're getting rid of one ally just completely, so which could be terrifying. This one is Eomer and the Riders of Rohan. Very, very cool. Like I said, the artwork is amazing, and I can't really the lighting is kind of bad, but get the game yourself because this is incredible. It's way better in person. This one is instead of rolling in a battle without having to roll, you automatically win a battle. Basically, Eomer comes charging in with his forces and wrecks everybody. The Orcords and the Uruk-hai we've also met already and kind of went through the cards. Mostly about battles. And of course we have Eowyn. Very, very cool. And again, crazy how behind me it literally is Eowyn fighting the Witch King. That's crazy. So Eowyn, if you roll a 6 during your encounter with the Witch King of Angmar, which is literally right behind me as I'm playing, you immediately remove all the Nazgul, the Witch King, and his encounter card from the game. So basically, she defeats, the Witch King, and basically all the Nazgul disappear, and so that threat of the Nazgul and them winning the game and you losing the game disappears, which is a very helpful ally card, but it's kind of based on chance. So, all right, so now we got to this top right corner here, which is Isengard. Now I drew 2 Uruk-hai from earlier, and the way that I do things is that they're stationary in Isengard for the time being, but once the let's say like they got past Helm's Deep here, once the Fellowship figures enter, so quote unquote enter the Isengard stage, the Uruk-hai are pretty much released, and so I kind of like spread them out evenly. So we got 2 Uruk-hai here, and there's a Nazgul still up here in the corner. And the Orc Chieftain is last but not least. I always put the Orc Chieftain there just because it gives more of a challenge for the players. Also for the Orc Chieftain, the way that I do things is that in order to defeat him, you have to roll twice in battle for him. Now, of course, since this is considered the Gondor cards, I know that there is a Treebeard card, which I do have a token for. Found Gandalf here. So there is a Treebeard one, which I'll probably show in a better view here. But if you roll, or if you choose the Treebeard card, you actually get to put him like right here in this corner, and Treebeard helps you along the way through the battles. So that's kind of how I do things with Isengard. I know that the game itself isn't quite set up like that. But it's like I said, it's kind of like a homebrew that I do just to have fun with it, I suppose. And I would say like I probably drew a couple Nazgul cards because a lot of people draw Nazgul cards. So Minas Morgul is kind of stacking up here. So kind of going back to it, let's say that Aragorn and Gimli are rolling here. Just like as a refresher for you guys, so like if this happens, 5 and a 6, let's see here, if I go through the stack here, well, there's some bad ones, but but basically they roll the black dice first, which there would be cards here, and basically they have to go through the cards and the Uruk-hai themselves. So I'll fast forward to when I'm ready. Okay, so since they both rolled 3s, which is actually kind of crazy. So let's say like Aragorn went first and Gimli's after him. And I'll flip over the 6 to see what it is first. So, oh nice, there we go. Perfect. So I got Grond here. So even though you can't see it quite well, you see that there are the 3 immediate hearts here. And you see that there's a flip side also here. That means you only get to use Grond 1 time, and I'll show you guys in a clear picture. But you only use it 1 time, so you kind of set it off to the side, but you automatically lose 3 hearts, which is terrible. But since he goes ahead and he fights with the Uruk-hai first, so he used only 1/2 movement of space. That means when you roll, so since he rolled Legolas's arrow here, the green arrow, you can't see it quite well here, but since the green arrow was rolled, that means it's automatic loss of 1 heart, and he gets stuck here, quote unquote, fighting the Uruk-hai, which is another battle, part of the battle information that I also wanted to include, is that if you lose the battle, not only do you lose 1 heart, but you also are stuck where you are, basically fighting until more of your allies come around to help you. Now, with this here, there is a Galadriel space right here, if you guys can see it, that if you hit the Galadriel space, for me, the way that I played, if you hit the Galadriel space, you get bumped up 2 markers here. Just like as like it's like the Hope of Galadriel. And I know that there is a Galadriel card that I rolled earlier. But there, actually no, there is 2 Galadriel spaces. There's a file of Galadriel and Galadriel herself. But for me, she gets bumped up to, and there are ways actually to basically, you know, if you lose 1 and then you lose 2. Or, let's just say, for instance, somebody rolled this one, which is literally the Eye of Sauron, or Sauron's Eye, and you immediately get bumped back down to the Eye of Sauron. So there are ways that, even though with the help of Galadriel, you still can potentially lose the game through the ring track, pretty much. Also, if I wanted to, well, I'll probably go through the cards here in a moment, just as a better thing, but I just wanted to let you guys see the map itself here. So yeah, like I said, Orc Chieftain here up in the top. Basically, you roll twice in order to defeat the Chieftain, and then you get to go on to the next stage. Okay, so like I said, the Grand card. So this is the three hearts here, and then the flip side here on the bottom. That means you only use it 1 time, but it's 3 hearts, so that's a lot, and it's bad. So here we actually have a different Uruk-hai card. This one's very specifically to, you know, like the Isengard itself. For this one is for each Uruk-hai Isengard, if you fight 1 time and you lose, it's 1 heart, as always. However, if Isengard had already been freed of all the Uruk-hai, you actually get this, if you can see, it's like a outline of the black hearts, pretty much. It's just like an outline. That means you gain, or you heal 1, or you gain 1 of courage, so you kind of get bumped back up, which is really nice to have. The next one we have here is Faramir. Very, very cool again. Faramir is before your turn, you can advance the ring bearer 2 to 4 spaces. So that's it can be handy very much. And like I said, there is the ally of Treebeard. Treebeard's design is actually really cool. I actually really like it. Very whimsical. For this one, you can choose between 2. So you can either heal 2, or, you know, put the courage track back up to 2, or you can place the Treebeard token in Isengard like I did before, and from now, every battle that you win in Isengard, you remove 1 Uruk-hai, and ultimately, you remove the Chieftain. So basically, each win that you have in Uruk-hai, another Uruk-hai is taken off the board as like an extra ally. So that's extremely helpful, and that's basically like the entirety of all Isengard. This one is, there you go, Sauron's Eye. So it's, I was surprised to see it so early, like in Isengard. I thought it was going to be like Minas Morgul, but no. So Sauron's Eye, you only use it 1 time, as you can see in the flip side marker here in the corner. This one is on the courage track. You move the 1 ring to the space with Sauron's Eye. If it is already on or past this space, nothing happens, but basically you're getting close to Mount Doom. Frodo's getting close to Mount Doom, and yeah, you have to move it all the way down. So each stage gets a little harder, pretty much. So that is that. Orc Hordes and Nazgul we also went through earlier. Okay, so now that we've reached Minas Morgul here, so basically this whole path here is basically the Minas Morgul right before Mount Doom. So what I do for this, if there are any Nazgul left in Minas Morgul, I actually release them into the path, and then if I can find him, there is the Witch King figure here, and he basically guards Minas Morgul here, and I kind of do the whole same concept of you have to fight him twice in order to defeat him. So since they are all here, the Fellowship, then they basically have to fight through all the Nazgul up until the Witch King, and then they have to fight him twice in order to defeat him. And that's kind of like what I wanted to show you guys here specifically. Just because that's the way that I do it. Like I said again, it's all based on kind of expanding the game to my liking, so to speak. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys all of that. Okay, so here we go through the Minas Morgul cards here. So the first one we have actually is Army of the Dead. So that's actually a really cool card as well. This one, you get to place this card on top of a card to the left or right, so depending on where it is on the bottom side of the map, that card remains invalid until the army of the dead moves on. So pretty much like whatever card you choose, you can actually like nullify a card to the right or to the left. And you can choose to do that. It depends also. But most of the Minas Morgul, I think all of them are all considered enemy cards. So either way, it's a good card. It's like the good card to have in a way. This one's the Haradrim, so also very cool and very relevant to where we're at. Haradrim, the enemy has allies too, and you automatically lose 2 hearts. And this one actually does not have the flip side, so that means this one stays on the board. So if you keep re-rolling this, you just keep re-rolling 2 hearts that you have to take out, which is terrible. Here we go. So here is the Witch King of Angmar. So very scary guy. The Witch King is for each Nazgul and Minas Morgul, roll 1 black encounter die, which is basically the ones that we roll for the cards, including for the Witch King himself. And for each odd number, you lose the courage. You lose a heart, pretty much. So that's also very, very terrible, because the Witch King is, you know, full of fear and stuff like that, which makes sense. Here we have Denethor, everybody's favorite character, right? Denethor, you must re-roll one of the multicolored fellowship dice that is placed on the board. So basically, you just roll 1 dice, which may or may not be good, depending, I guess. You could, you know, roll a 6, and then you have to re-roll that one, and then you roll a 1. So it slows the progress, maybe. So it's not a terrible card. We have another of the Uruk-hai cards that we mentioned earlier in Isengard. And here we actually have the Mumakil, which actually is a very terrible one, because this one, if you can see, you have to roll the battle dice twice. So you have the chance of losing 4 hearts with the Mumakil, which would be terrible if you're a very terrible roller. So that's terrifying. And last but not least, we have Sauron's Mouth. So this is actually a really cool designed card here. And Sauron's Mouth is, you keep fighting battles until you have won 2 in a row. So, and if you lose the battles, you lose 1 heart continually. But as soon as you get over this card, you have that flip side here, and that means it's done. So, and that is Minas Morgul. So let's head on over to Mount Doom. Okay, so now that we're in Mount Doom here, you'll see that there are actually no enemies in the path, only because Frodo and Sam, from this point on, as they have reached Mount Doom, they must go 1 movement at a time until they reach the top of Orodruin here. Now, for this one, since they can only move 1 at a time, none of the colored dice really matter, so you kind of just put them off to the side, and then you only roll the 2 black dice here. So this one you pretty much just kind of roll to see what happens here. And I think for this video, I'm actually going to set them all up just the way it is. Wow, that's terrible. Okay. Just so I can kind of let you guys know kind of how it is. So the first rolls here are a 4 and a 3. So you can put them on the red book here, just if you want to. But yeah, so they roll a 4 and a 3, which 4 is Gollum's Badness, which is an immediately 1 heart, so you move it down 1. And that was 4. And then 3 is Shelob's Stings, that you have to roll 1 black encounter dice. And number 1, you're in luck, so you have to roll this one. So let's see. There you go. I rolled a 3. That means I lose 1 heart. So basically, you kind of just go based on this. So lose 1 heart, but however, I also landed on this Galadriel space, which means it gets bumped back up 2 again. And of course, in this instance, it's very theoretical that it's very like in the middle. Usually, a lot of times people are all the way down here and everybody freaks out, but you never know what happens. And since they are there, basically, they move ahead 1 spot here on the map. And then you roll again with the 2 black dice. There's 2 and a 6. 2 is amazing because this is the File of Galadriel, which means you like you immediately gain 2 hearts here, so already you get bumped up 2, which is great. But you also rolled a 6, which is Shelob, and you get caught in the web of giant spider, which means it goes back down 1. And also, they do not move during this turn. So that means they are stuck where they are. They can't move until their next roll, pretty much. And then we roll again, 1 and a 5. Wow, I rolled the 1 ring. So for the 1 ring, if you roll 1 through 5, you're in luck. But if you roll a 1 again, so if I roll another 1, that'd be crazy, and I lose 5 hearts. Wow! Wow! Well, there you go. It's on camera, so there you go. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, like I said before, there are instances where you can basically just bypass Galadriel's help, and it goes all the way down there, which is terrible. So that was bad. But I did roll the Eagles card here, so I gain 1, and I finally get to move the next turn. And so it keeps kind of going on and on for this one until you get to Mount Doom, or until the ring here goes all the way down to the last heart here on the bottom, and Frodo ultimately gets corrupted by the ring, and that's the end of the game. Or Frodo and Sam ultimately do, say if it's like 1 away, but they do end up getting to the top of Erodruin here, or Mount Doom. That means you did win the game, and everybody's happy, and it's a good ending and whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much the Mount Doom phase part of the story, or part of the board game here. And I'll be going through the Mount Doom cards here just in a moment. Okay, so what we had here, this is the 1 ring card, so, very terrifying. You see all these, the 5 black hearts pretty much is, basically, if you roll 1 black encounter die, again, if you drew the card, 1 through 5, you're in luck, where it's fine, but if you rolled a 6, that means terrible, which I think I actually did that wrong. The way that I did it right now, I kind of reversed it. If I rolled a 1, it was bad, and if it was 2 through 6, then it was good. So, things like that I kind of forget. So, this one, like I said, is the File of Galadriel, a shining ray of courage. So this one you immediately gain 2 on the courage track. Very, very cool stuff. This one is Shelob's Sting. So it's actually kind of funny that they put Shelob's Sting because the sword is called Sting, and that's Shelob's weakness. But this one is that you have to re-roll one of the black encounter dice, and 1, you're in luck. 2 through 3, if you roll a 2 through 3, then you get 1 black heart, and if you roll 4 through 6, you get 2 black hearts on the courage track. So next we have Gollum's Madness. Gollum looks very creepy in these cards, actually. But this one is Greed paralyzes the mind, and you automatically lose 1 courage heart, which makes sense, I guess. As Frodo is going up the mountain, that greed to keep the ring increases. Here we have Eagles, a small sign of hope. So there's 1 healing heart for that. The Eagles are coming, woohoo! And then there's Shelob here. This was actually a really cool design of Shelob. I actually really liked it. It says, caught in the web of the giant spider, you lose 1 heart, and you pretty much are stuck for that turn. You can't advance until the next turn. And last but not least, we have Gollum's Deceit. Like I said, he looks very creepy in these, which is kind of the point. This one's a bitter fight over the ring, and you lose 2 hearts immediately. So basically, it's like that big climatic event at, let's say like, in the movies where Frodo and Gollum are pretty much, wrestling each other. Gollum bites off Frodo's fingers, things like that. It's basically the fight over the ring. But that is all of the Mordor cards, and that's actually all the cards throughout the whole game. Very fun stuff. I've played it a few times with my family, a few times with friends, and it's been very, very fun. Every single time is very fun. There's also a way that, for me, it's like considered hard mode. Is basically somebody has to be Frodo and Sam along the main journey. And for that, that means if they lose a fight, for Frodo and Sam, that means they lose one down on the courage track, which is also part of the game, but also it's also depending on how well they do in a fight itself. So if they, rolled a 6 for movement, they have to fight. And if they, it just basically causes the courage track to decrease significantly. And so you have to plan things out very, very ahead of time. And so that's the way that I do hard mode in a way. But other than that, that's kind of like the way that I play Adventure to Mount Doom. I think it's very fun. It's a very fun game for me. Like I said, I've tweaked some stuff to, the way that I would probably do it. I know that there are probably other rules that you probably, for those who have played it, probably it's just like, no, that's not how you play it in the game, but that's just the way this is the way that I play it, and so far it's been the most fun. But I think I got the basic rules down and whatnot, which is kind of like what I was planning on doing, kind of showcasing you guys what it looked like, and I'll probably be just showing the map and images and stuff like that because it's absolutely incredible. But I think other than that, I think that's kind of like all I had for this game, for Adventure to Mount Doom. Like I said, it's my favorite Lord of the Rings board game that I have so far. I also have other ones that I actually have gathered over time, so I'm learning those rules so I can show you guys in later episodes, which I hope to continue these because it's fun showcasing the games that I'm into, especially when it comes to Lord of the Rings. Hopefully you guys checked out The Hobbit, Hunt for the Arkenstone. That's also another fun game that I actually played with a few of my friends earlier, and it was very fun. So hopefully you guys do end up considering getting the game. I'll show you guys again that this is basically how it looks on the front here, Adventure to Mount Doom. Very, very fun. It is by Cosmos Gaming. I think it's just Gaming or Cosmos. I don't know. Backside kind of tells you what the map looks like and whatnot. Again, very fun. Highly, highly recommend it if you enjoy Lord of the Rings as much as I am, and if you enjoy board games, because just fun time to sit down for like an hour. Because usually this takes about an hour, as I explained it about. So I think that's kind of all that I have for this episode, this very fun episode, I guess, for me, of Exploring Arda. So hopefully you guys will, just catch me in another episode, either of Exploring Arda, possibly, as I'm reading through Fall of Gondolin. It's been a few weeks since I've done that. Also check out Through the Wardrobe, which is my Narnia series. I narrate through the Narnia series, give a little commentary after each episode. And also just kind of every now and then I have my Over the Garden Wall deep dive series, which I'll be continuing to write over time. I'm about halfway through, so hopefully you guys check that out. So I think with all that being said, just stay tuned for another episode. May the light of Elbereth be with you all. Farewell.